Okay, you're looking for a lunatic? You found them. Great to be here. Billy Joel, I'm a big fan. Oyster Bay, Long Island guy. Yeah. And Nest headquartered in Oyster Bay, Long Island. So it was appropriate that I come out with Billy Joel. So I'm using the word planful and to tell you why this word is important to me. First of all, it's not a real word. It really isn't. Many years ago, I had a boss at our sales meeting would always use this word planful. And we're like, planful? And what it is, it's taking two words and putting it together. It's thoughtful planning. If you think about that, we do it every day in our life, whether it be personal life or business. And I'm going to share some experiences with you in both. But planful, to me, is observing, analyzing, and adjusting. We probably do that every day. You approach and you have an attitude. And you're targeted and you're committed. So that's being planful. And you practice mindfulness. So that's being aware of the future. So, not being aware of the future on the right, okay? That's not John Hall from Hall & Oates. And it's not from America's Most Wanted. That's my college ID, first day of college. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was like, what am I going to do? What do I want to be when I grow up? So my dad was in real estate. My mother was a travel agent. So between those two, I knew I wanted to be in sales. That was important to me. I had an aunt that was in hotel. So putting that together, you're like, okay, what's it going to be when you come out of college? What do you want to do? Find a job. And I chose this great career of travel. So I'm very glad that I did take the right path. You can see the picture has changed a little bit from 1980. But that got me on the path of practicing mindfulness, being aware of the future. So when you think about it, okay, what do I want to do? You're going to get married. You're going to decide on where you want to live. You buy your first house. That's my first house on the right. That's in Wilmington, Delaware. And I was 24 years old and not thinking about preparing for the future at 24 and being mindfulness. My dad, being in real estate, said, buy your first house. I'll help you. And I did, and I lived in that house for 12 years. And that house helped me buy a bigger house in North Carolina, which helped me buy a bigger house down here in Florida. So again, you're not thinking of this, but you're actually doing it. Then from there, you start your family. I had started my family in this house, and then you start to think about education for your children. So all of that is planful, right? You're preparing for the future. You're observing. Now, again, not being mindful. The picture on the right, if you see the circle, that's a really bad 1990s mullet, right? It's really bad. Not being mindful. And then, as you could see, the suitcase, the briefcase, is this big, thick, leather burgundy alligator briefcase. Could you imagine walking into a sales call? But the reason why I show you this picture is this was early 1990s. I was a BDM for Celebrity Cruises, and Celebrity was in its infancy. We had two ships, right, at the time. We had the Meridian and the Horizon. And this was the day of 35 to 40 sales calls. There was no email. There was no laptops. There was no cell phones, not even any GPS. These were the days where you had to observe, you had to analyze, and you had to adjust everything that you did. So you would plan your day, and you go through different sections. Where am I going to be? I'm going to be in Greensboro this week. And this were the days when travel agents were on every corner. But you had to prepare, and you had to be targeted, and you had to be committed. So once again, you're being planful, right? It's thoughtful planning, it's observing, it's analyzing, and it's adjusting. So with that, you would build relationships. And this, when I found this picture, it reminded me of the days of where you had to pick up a phone, right? You had to pick up a phone and call someone. You couldn't email them. You had to go into their office to see them. And that was so important. And I cherish that because to this day, some 20-something years later, I still have great relationships from these days in the Carolinas of calling on people in Tennessee and North Carolina and South Carolina. It really is establishing that relationship, which is a little harder to do today because you do emails, you do text messages. You're not building that personal relationship like you did back in the 80s and 90s. So to me, once again, you're not thinking about the word, but you're being planful, right? That's what you're doing. And I'll close with this. If my wife was here, she would kill me on the picture on the left, right? So that's Valentine's Day, 1989. And that's my first daughter, Lauren. And the middle picture is her today, 3 weeks ago. And that's her with her baby daughter. And here it is, 32 years later. That's me and my wife on the right holding our granddaughter. So when you think about it, everything I just shared with you and took you through what we did for our families, for our business, for our life, we were being planful. And grateful for that. Grateful for, being in this great industry. Grateful to the family that I have, and grateful to all of you because, there's a lot of you out there that I've known for many years, and that you've become a great friend. Same thing with the suppliers. We know of each other. We're a family, and that's the way I kind of like to look at it. So, in closing, I just want to say, being planful, even it's not a real word, you take those two words, you put them together, thoughtful planning, and you get the word planful. So it's not in a dictionary, but you heard it here today. So thank you very much.